To the casual observer, tech in track cycling may appear to have changed little in the past 150 years. Compared to its road and mountain bike cousins, a track bike certainly lacks gadgetry. Take a closer look, however, and there is much more to track bikes than meets the eye. We went down to the 6-day series in Melbourne to explore the intricacies of these deceptively simple machines. Let's start by comparing track bikes to the genre our audience is most familiar with, road bikes. From afar, road bikes and track bikes may share a similar silhouette, but there are a number of differences that are worth noting. Starting with geometry, track bikes would typically feature a shorter reach, shallower fork rake, and shorter top tube than road bikes to increase handling at speed. The bottom bracket is also higher to give riders additional pedal clearance on the velodrome's bank corners. As for frame materials, track bikes come in the same material as all other bikes. Carbon and aluminium are the preferred options, however steel and titanium options also exist but aren't typically used in racing due to their increased weight and more traditional tube profiles.
You'll notice that a lot of the tubes are a bit thicker on the track bike. The main reason for that is a little bit of aerodynamics, but also for stiffness. On the track you're going for obviously max speed and stiffness and directing all the power through to the pedals and losing nothing through the bike.
Finally, the most obvious difference is the track bike's simple componentry. The list of track bike components is a short one: frame and fork, handlebars, wheels, cranks, a single chainring on the front, one cog fixed to the hub on the rear wheel, and the chain itself.
One of the things you can see here is that there's no brakes, so that's probably the biggest standout thing. We don't need brakes on the track. The reason for that is because we have one gear.
Without the ability to shift, gear ratios become an important consideration for a track rider and will depend on the training objectives or event specifics. Generally, a lower gear ratio is preferable in training to encourage a higher cadence and more efficiency. This can also be used in racing that require repeated accelerations. Higher gear ratios are great for practicing sprint technique and standing starts in training, and in races typically make it a bit easier to maintain speed once on top of the gear. Wheels can come in all materials, but higher end bikes will typically use carbon wheels.
The ones we use on the track though generally are a little bit, I would say heavier, a little bit stiffer than what you'll see on the road, because obviously we're not climbing hills, we're going around the bends on a board track. And with some of the weights of the guys, getting up above 90 kilos, they need a bit of a stiffer wheel.
Deep section wheels, thick bladed carbon spokes, or even full carbon disc rims are also suitable.
We've got no wind to worry about on the indoors, so we can run those. One of the other features that adds to the speed of things is the tyres that you'll see on the track. So right here we've got some Vittoria tyres. Now generally these you won't be able to use on the road. The reason for that is they just won't last. If they hit a little bit of gravel or a rock or something like that, they'll either explode or you'll put a hole in it straight away. So they're quite smooth and they've got a very, very fast material on them.
Like road cycling and mountain bike riding, track cycling offers different types of bikes depending on the type of riding or racing that you're doing. A standard track bike is best thought of as an all-rounder and will typically be used in longer endurance-based events like the Scratch Race or a Madison. The geometry will lend itself to a less aggressive, more comfortable riding position to make the longer events more bearable. Gearing is also likely to be lower on a traditional track bike to encourage a higher cadence and more sustainable power output over longer distance events. Sprint track bikes are more aggressive in every aspect when compared to a standard track bike. Head tubes are typically shorter to allow for a decreased frontal profile, while longer reach figures are also common, placing the rider in a long and low position. Tube profiles are often on the cutting edge of aero efficiency, as well as the components used like the handlebars. Track sprinters are capable of astonishing power, so stiffness is a major factor in ensuring that a rider's efforts are transferred to the track, propelling the rider forward.
You've got the stem with a fair few bolts in there. That obviously adds to the stiffness, a pretty thick carbon stem. So when we're doing things like standing starts, or even for the endurance guys, changing when their partner's in the Madison and stuff like that, you want a pretty stiff handlebar and stem so you're not getting any wobble out of the bike.
Therefore, wheels, handlebars, stems and chain sets will be some of the stiffest available in the cycling industry. So there's the lowdown on track bikes. They may seem simple, but a lot of thought has been put into the precision of their simplicity. If you're after more detail or want to know how far your money will go with a new track bike, follow the link in the description below, and as always, like and subscribe for more bike content from us here at BikeExchange.